Hello, everyone. Just thought it might be helpful if I did a video update to kind of walk you through week 2 remote learning activities. So I've shared my screen with you, and you'll be able to see this information on your own course page. But always at the very top of the page will be our new week's learning activities. So notice your learning activities this week are in a purple folder. It's entitled Fourth Quarter Remote Learning Lessons, April the 20th through April the 24th. And so let me open that up and kind of walk you through what we are going to be doing. Oh, before I do that, I wanted to remind you that down below the new week's activities will be the previous week's activities. So if you have not finished all of the activities from last week, you need to make sure that you get in there and get that done. And let me explain to you why. So we have been instructed to give an incomplete to anyone who is not participating in these now graded non-optional learning activities. And also, if you wind up having an average for fourth quarter that is lower than third quarter, we have also been instructed to give you an incomplete. And what does that mean for you? Well, what that means is that you won't have credit for our forensics course if an incomplete is given. And that incomplete can be made up, but then you'll have to do that during the summer or the fall. And I'm thinking that's probably not something you want to do. And so it is important that you stay on top of activities and that you get them completed, particularly if you are wanting to apply to a college and you won't be able to get a transcript for the course because you won't have earned the credit for the course, or maybe you are returning to high school next year, you're a junior, and you want to be eligible for sports. Having incompletes will affect you negatively in those areas. And so please, please, guys, don't let that happen. Just make sure you're keeping up with the activities as they are posted each week. If you have any questions about that, feel free to contact me. But let's go back to what we're doing for this week. So this week, again, the activities are in this purple folder. So let me open that up. And at the top of the page is some information about directions. And so it says, start here, please read first, and you definitely want to do that. So let me open that up and kind of walk you through what's happening. So we've got 3 different activities this week. And the first activity is to make test corrections for your odontology test. I made a Google form, and it's just like the test correction page that we used in class, but wanted to do a quick little reminder that when you are making your corrections, you are to rewrite the questions or some version of the question and give answers in words, no letter answers, please. Because again, that doesn't really allow your brain to make the connection between the question that you missed and then the actual correct answer. So we're writing word answers, not letter answers. Now, if you have not yet taken that test, go ahead to the folder from last week, access the test, and make sure you get it completed. It may take me a little bit of time to get your extent of responses scored and graded. But again, when you're doing test corrections, you're doing the multiple choice only. And that should give you immediate feedback. Schoology should give you immediate feedback on what you missed multiple choice wise. So you can go ahead and get those corrections done almost instantaneously after you get the test done and submitted. So again, activity 1, test corrections. Activity 2, we have always in the past kicked off a new unit, and we are starting a new unit this week, which is about shoe prints and tire tracks. And so we've always kicked off that unit with the forensics file episode, and I know you all like those. So I found a forensics file episode called Soul Searching that I wanted you to view. And then I made a Google Doc that, again, is very similar to the fact sheet that we normally fill out in class for forensics file episodes, a Google Doc for you to complete and submit through Schoology. And then lastly is activity 3, which is 2-parted. There is an Ed Puzzle video for you to watch. that shows a forensics investigator who specializes in shoe prints and how he basically locates shoe prints and then basically documents or copies or lifts, in some cases, casts in other cases, the shoe print so that he can take the shoe print back to the lab for further examination. And he also discusses just in general the importance and significance of shoe prints. So I wanted you to watch that video and complete the Ed puzzle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute when I open up another section on the course page. But then I found an activity that I thought you might find to be fun, where you are basically looking at two what seem to be identical shoe prints. They're the same size, they're the same style, the shoes have the same tread pattern, but there are 10 kind of subtle differences based on what has occurred to the tread as two different people have walked around in these shoes. And so I wanted you to see how your powers of observation are, hopefully better than mine, because I could only find 9 of the 10 differences. But I wanted you to look at these pictures and see if you can identify what's different between the two shoe prints, which is exactly what a forensics investigator would be asked to do. And so notice, because I can only find 9, I'm thinking if I'm struggling a little bit, you might be as well. So for full credit, you need to locate at least 7 differences. But additional differences that you can find will earn you extra credit. So hope your powers of observation are good when you're completing this assignment. So let me go back to our main page. And I know it's kind of redundant, but I want to make sure that you're understanding the directions. Let me walk you through each activity folder. I've set these up in separate folders, hoping they'll be easier for you to view. So activity 1 is to make test corrections. There's a Google Doc that you'll go to, and you'll record your test corrections there and then submit to Schoology. If you have not yet taken the test, this is a reminder to go back to the previous week's folder and find the test and get that done. Activity 2 is the forensics file episode. So here's a link for viewing it. And here is the Google Doc that you'll use to complete your basically assessment of what you learned from watching the forensics file episode. So that should be a pretty easy activity for you to do. And then activity 3 is the Ed puzzle. And by the way, I've done the Ed puzzle differently. Mrs. Talk Talk and I discovered that you can link an Ed puzzle directly to Schoology, and then you don't have to be given a class code to get into the Ed puzzle itself. And it should also automatically submit to the Schoology gradebook. So when you open this up, takes it a minute. Here is the actual Ed puzzle, and you can hit play and immediately get going on that. And then here is the can you spot the shoe print differences? Now you can either print this out, complete it, and take a picture and upload it to Schoology. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And so here's the picture of the two shoe prints. And gee, don't they look similar? But there are apparently 10 differences between the two. So this asks you to identify and circle the differences. That would be if you were printing this out. And then you are to list the coordinates where you spot the differences. So for instance, if I see a difference here, then maybe I'm going to record this as C 1.5 or even C1 or C2. I'll understand what you're trying to tell me as long as you get the coordinates close. So that again is if you would like to print this out. All right. You can also just answer the questions on your own paper and then submit this to Schoology. And here's where you're going to be submitting. Now, I hope this doesn't confuse you, but I also made a Google Doc in case you'd prefer to accomplish this task in that way. So again, you have 3 options: print it out, write your answers on your own paper, or use the Google Doc. But when you go to submit, your page is going to look a little bit different than mine, but you'll have a submissions area over here with a upload file or upload a file attachment. And the only reason why I'm having you all do it this way through Schoology is some of you last week emailed me pictures of tasks that you completed. And my only concern with that is that I am getting so many emails from students saying that you got assignments done, from administrators, from other staff members, from parents, that if you email me your assignments rather than submitting them through Schoology, I'm concerned that I may not see them, that they may get buried amongst all the other tons of emails that I'm receiving. So let's try to do it this way. All right, submit in through Schoology rather than emailing me information. So let me go back and just do a quick little run through. So you're going to read the instructions. You're going to go to activity 1, test corrections, complete it, submit. Go to activity 2, forensics file episode, watch the episode, fill out the Google form, submit, and go to activity 3, which is twofold. You're going to watch an ed puzzle. It should automatically connect to the Schoology gradebook. And then you're going to do the activity, can you spot the differences between the shoe prints? And either print it out, take a picture, submit through Schoology, write out the answers, take a picture, submit through Schoology, or go to the Google Doc, complete, and submit through Schoology. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I hope you have a fabulous week.